Did you see? Did you see it? Not sponsored by them, but right there on the back was Clam. Was Kwikset by Clam. Brought to you by, because I'll tell you what, I am dealing with mosquitoes and pollen big time here. Yeah, it is. They want to carry your way. I am in Sun River at Thousand Trails, Sun River. I think they call it Thousand Trails Bend. And this is my home base. They've done some upgrades to the park. Oh, and good news, the pool and hot tub are working. Don't know if you guys know the story on that, but during COVID, the management here, I believe they were new, got the idea to drain the pool and hot tub. And in the climate of Central Oregon, that is not a wise thing to do. To save a little bit of propane to heat the pool and the hot tub, since nobody was using it, they drained it. It ruined two pools. They had they have a kids pool, and then they have a family pool, and then they have a hot tub. It ruined all three, and they had to rebuild those 4 years. 4 years to get those replaced. There is water in the kids pool. It's not currently open. I think they're working on some stuff with that, but the main pool, the family pool, and the hot tub are both open. I am very happy to see that when I got here just a couple days ago. So we are, you know what? I don't have a lot planned because we were doing just errands week. I've spent a few days with my son and my grandkids not far away from here. And I had some DMV stuff that we'll talk about. I'll tell you what, I have DMV stories to tell you, but I am throwing it out there. We're not going to call it open mic night. We're going to call it why not night, because I don't have a lot planned. And I am actually, you caught me a little bit off guard. I hadn't filled my happy hour yet. I'm going to go ahead and play the video. If you missed it from last week, and that was me pushing my my low fuel light for 120 miles, and you can see how that one turns out. And I'll take that time while we're showing that to maybe go and refill my happy hour. But want to give first shout out of the night right there. There is Mr. Bill right there. And you know what? There was some talk last week. Jenny, sassy pants for you. She wanted to be first, and you guys are awesome. You guys, yeah, there's no break. You can't be slacking here in this comment section, because no. So welcome, Bill. We're gonna give you the first shout out of the night. Sassy pants for you. There's Miss Jen. She did get there. She just got there late. So she was trying. I have been chatting a little bit in the background here, but let's see. We got Don, Cowboy Biker Adventures. Don, he's off there, and I think you're still in Florida, dealing with some storms that way. So we are coming into hurricane season, but I haven't heard anything out there on hurricanes, so you're probably safe, Don. WCRV Adventures is in the house. Glad to have you here. And Life with Lenny from Kentucky, working out a moonshine deal with Lenny. That it is a bucket list item. I want to buy real moonshine from a shady dude out of the back of a pickup truck. If we get, and Lenny says they got it. They got it. He says we got the shine. All right, might have to hit you up on that. But a little talk in the chat rooms about Dole Whip, and Don still has not had a Dole Whip. I don't know where you get one other than Disney World, where you're at, Don. So there's the only place that I know of is Disneyland and Disney World, and then there's one place in Palm Springs that does sell them, and they're quite good. And if you have a mind to add a shot of rum to that, and ooh, it is good stuff. So Dale and Sherry are in the house. Glad to have you there. That's my brother right there from McMinnville, Oregon. And we haven't talked. I didn't know that you went over to McMinnville. I assume you're probably over there doing the coast thing. So Miss Pearl is in the house. I think I just missed them by a couple of weeks, or maybe even less. But sorry that I miss you guys. Next exit and Miss Pearl right there. Glad to have you here. I'm going to show the video from last week. If you missed it or you came late and didn't get to see it, I'm going to go and refill my happy hour, and we'll go ahead and start this one off. Hang on, guys. I'll be right back. Yeah, we'll throw it.
Oh, so I'm going to pull forward, get out of the fuel lanes, go pour myself a cup of coffee.
Let's start that one over again. That's what we're looking at. Low fuel. I can't see if I can get there we go. Yeah, we're getting low. We're getting really low. So I'm in Alturas, California, and see if I can just show you. It's just a small casino, and it's a gravel parking lot. Good for an overnight. I've been here a couple times before. Now here's the deal. Right next door, right over there, that's actually a gas station on the other side of that building that you see, on the other side of that fence. Now, I have pushed my fuel light before, and where I'm at right now, I'm about 100 miles even from my next fuel stop, 80 miles from the Oregon border. And I've never pushed my fuel light that long. In fact, I've never pushed my fuel light much at all. There's only been one other occasion, and I went from Rachel, Nevada to Tonopah, and I believe that was just a little over 100 miles to into Tonopah. At that time, I didn't have a choice, and right now I am at a fuel station in California. I could put in enough fuel to get me over and make sure that I get over the Oregon border. Now, this may not be very wise, and I wouldn't advise this for anybody, but I'm going to run with it. I'm going to go with it. It is not the, you know, I could put $10 in. I could put $10 in, excuse me, 10 gallons in. $10 wouldn't get me very far, but I could put 10 gallons in. Easily would carry me across the border into Oregon. There I could fuel up. Fuel in Oregon from here to there, about $2 a gallon cheaper. And when you're filling a 100-gallon tank, you're talking about a $200 difference. 10 gallons here, though, you're really talking less than a $10 difference for between getting it over there or not. But it is the principle of the thing. I do not want to fill up. I do not want to buy fuel in California. I thought that I had planned this correctly, and I squeezed it a little too much. A little too much, I think. But there it is, guys. We're gonna run it. We're gonna run it because it's the principle of the thing. And who knows, tonight's live, this is Sunday, tonight's live could be on the side of the highway. Hopefully in the Oregon side, I don't know. We're gonna go for it. Hang on, guys. We're gonna go. I've gotta clean this windshield off. It is bad.
Somebody lead us to somewhere. We're stuck here and we're never gonna leave. Stuck in the middle of nowhere.
I know. Dave, that's crazy. You know, you could just get 10 gallons of fuel and it would easily carry you over. You'd be okay. I could do that. I could absolutely do that. I am in the state of California. Fuel is $2 a gallon more here than it is over in Oregon. And there is the principle of the thing. It's that $20. I'm going to spend the next hour and a half thinking about how I could spend that $20. All right, guys, we're doing it. Hang on. Whew. Alturas, as far as Alturas goes, kind of a cool little town. Kind of old town, rural USA. I really enjoy these towns. It is Sunday. Quite a bit quieter. Quite a bit quieter. So, but I gotta turn up here and I'm gonna have to watch that there. We're Klamath Falls bound. Now that was interesting. I'd almost want to stop there. So there are a lot of those missions in California. That one actually looked like it was pocked up from bullets, and be kind of curious to hear if that was built in or what. But very cool place. Looked like Diesel 569 at the Chevron. No, we're gonna go for it. We're gonna go for it. Assume this is Canby. Just an assumption, given the names of the different buildings. Sure. Got some flags going on over there. Now past this point, there is definitely nothing. there is nothing between here and Klamath Falls. Here goes nothing. Well, there must be something. It says next service is 44 miles. So here goes something. 44 miles. Still not across the Oregon border. Near as I can guess, it's about 60 miles to the Oregon border. Now I know that it is bad luck to look at a fuel gauge when you're trying to push it. I get that. I'm trying to remain positive though. I'm gonna make it. In fact, I'm thinking about how to spend that $20 3 Starbucks grande lattes. Or how about a Big Mac meal at McDonald's?
what is that, like 1995 now? No, wait a minute, that was California. Like, I could get 2 of them in Oregon. That is the agricultural station. Pretty common in California. They're checking for fruit and nuts coming into California. I keep telling them they're already here. But I can't be that far away from the Oregon border when I'm seeing that ag station. But we'll keep watching. Well, there's the truck. Get the pickup. Would that be a bad sign? Would that be a bad sign? Actually, I did make it to Love's. I am fueling up. My battery died somewhere just as I was crossing into Oregon. Had to I had no battery up front, so unfortunately I was not able to record, but I did take on 10 gallons just inside of Oregon. I don't remember the name of the little town that it was, but I did take on 10 gallons. So we're gonna add that on to whatever that I had here, because I was just getting a little too nervous to try to run that through. So we're just gonna go ahead and watch what we get up here. See what we get. All right, guys, hold on. Now the tank that I have is a 100-gallon tank. And this is the most fuel I've taken on at one stop. 83. Let's see if we can squeeze a little more into this here. I'm not ready to call it done just yet. Okay, well, that is as much as it's gonna take. It is full. No two ways about it. It is full. 83 gallons. Add on the 10 that I took on previously, brings us up to 93 gallons total. And now with a 100-gallon tank, I'm going to say that I still had about 7 gallons left, or somewhere around 40 miles worth of fuel left over. And wow, not bad, not bad. All right, guys, but I mean, that was getting low. That was getting low. So I'm gonna pull forward, get out of the fuel lanes, go pour myself a cup of coffee and take a breather for a minute. Oof. I was a little nervous on that one.
Hi, everybody. Dave, I can't hear you.
How about now?
Hey, there you go.
There you go. Yeah, I have a little switch on the mic that I shut off just so that I can I'm not making noise in the background when I'm running video, but I forget to turn that thing back on. So good to have you here, Don. It is not open mic night. It is I'm just gonna call it a why not night. and because
Oh wow.
I only
Yeah.
have stories about the past week. I didn't film because I was doing some mundane tasks through the week to try to and I was visiting with my kids and grandkids. So
And
that was
family
kind
is
of my best.
important.
Yeah.
So,
So
but I thought I'd come on and help you out. Hey, by the way, if anybody will think back to Bob and Pearl's Nick's Exit Rally 2021, January 2021,
yeah.
Earl and Bonnie was there. Bonnie, they're a couple years older than me. Bonnie was wearing a red cowboy hat. So surely someone in this room will remember them.
Yeah.
And they have a place in Saint. They still RV, but they have a place in Port St. Lucie, in Florida. And
Yeah.
I texted them the other day, and they was going to come have lunch, and they texted me back, says, "We're going to bring our RV. We're going to spend the weekend with you."
Oh,
So
that is fantastic.
even though they are not 1,000 Trails members, they came over, rented
Wow.
2 days, and we hung out and played Mexican Train and other games. And we yesterday we went to the Tampa Bay summer RV show,
Okay.
and I filmed that in its entirety in 2 parts, 360 video, which is one of them's about done uploading for tomorrow. Uncut, unedited. I have not even reviewed it, so no telling what we're going to get.
You know, sometimes you roll it. I do that. Sometimes you just roll the dice and I'm going to go ahead and play the video, and hopefully I didn't say anything inappropriate or wrong.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
And and Bonnie and Earl is the nicest people in the whole world. So, but anyhow, I was so shocked at the low prices of RVs. The bottom
really,
has fell out. So if you're buying, and I don't know why anybody would want to buy a new RV. I would never do that. I don't think.
right?
Not if you're going to live in it full time. But if you're looking for a new RV, the summer show, which went from 6th through the 9th, today was the last day at the fairgrounds in Tampa Bay, that's the show to go to, not the super show. I'm sure the prices are jacked up for that.
Right,
So,
right.
but man, I could not believe the low prices.
Is that right?
They
Yeah,
sure look low to me.
I half wonder if there isn't an inventory surplus out there, and I haven't
There is.
heard much about that. But yeah,
Yes,
it's they were
there
so
is a surplus.
behind during COVID,
Yep.
and then now they come out the other side of it, and they are just loaded with surplus coaches, and it's they gotta get rid of them. So they're paying interest on every one of those because none of the dealerships, if people know, the dealerships basically they take a loan out for the stock that they get on hand, and
Right.
they're paying interest on that loan. And it can be to the tune of hundreds of thousands depending on their inventory all year long. And it just makes more sense to sell them and get rid of them than to
Right.
hold on to them and pay that interest. So
Well,
interesting observation.
I tell you, I personally, everybody's talking about the craftsmanship has gone down so much since 20. Anything made from 2020 on is not good stuff. The exception to that
Yeah.
rule might be Tiffins and Newmars, but and stuff like that. There's so
Right.
many. When I researched this lifestyle, and I put in 1,000 hours of research for over 3 year period of time before I bought my RV. There's so many brands of Class A's, for example, I would not even own.
Sure. Yeah. No, I have never been a big fan of buying, but I don't discourage it. Here's the reason why: somebody needs to buy those. Somebody needs to buy
Let somebody else
the.
be the guinea pig.
I'm too cheap to do it, so I need somebody to buy my next rig now, so that I can buy it later on. And
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
but and
they,
we have to keep them in business. We can't have I Beaver Coaches is a prime example. Monaco Coach went out of
right.
business in 2008 with the reception. If somebody's not buying these, they go out of business. I mean, there's no way to stay in business. So
Well, I heard Monaco had two issues, not just a recession, but they had a serious paint issue on their coaches, and they got sued by so
well, they
many.
own many they own many brands at the end of it in 2008,
Yeah,
including Holiday Rambler, the coach that I'm driving now. And Monaco had their fingers in a lot of different companies and brands. I was actually really sorry to see them go because they were they were one of the biggies, and they were a good coach company. And
yeah.
I'm not going to name the ones that
Oh,
are out there now. I'm kind of
very
sorry
nice.
that some of those are still surviving.
Yeah, no kidding. Wayne had
Yeah,
a good point. He said interest rates are so high right now,
yeah,
and I don't keep up with that
yeah.
kind of stuff, but I'm
Yeah,
sure he is totally right because I don't watch news, and I pay everything off twice a month. So as far as
right.
credit cards, so I have no idea what interest is right now.
Yeah,
Hey,
it is high.
Bill's back on. He texted me a while ago. The power went out on him again. So, but it looks like it came
I,
back on.
I see that. He just commented right there. There's plenty
Yep.
out there, Dave. Lots of COVID purchased rigs being sold off because of, and that is the used rigs. There's a lot of used rigs that are
Yep.
being sold off.
They're flooding the
People
market.
during
Yep.
COVID either lost their homes or moved out of their homes, and they moved into an RV. And I knew that was going to happen. And here we are about 4 years later. And I'm sure we're seeing a lot of them now back out on the market for sale. And anytime that you have less demand and more product out there, it's going to drive the price down. And the interest rates will absolutely do that, as you saw at the RV show. But you get the people out there that are trying to sell off these rigs so they can move back into their apartments or home, and they just have to get rid of them. So
I just think interest rates is kind of funny. You think about it. People are loaning you money that is not their money, and they're making interest off of you on money they loaned you that was not even theirs. Interest
yeah.
interest is a number that's totally made up. Totally
No,
made
I
up.
know it. I know it, and it's set by the Fed, so we won't go into that, but
Yep.
absolutely,
Yep.
absolutely. I just know that as far as I still own property, and every time they push that up a quarter of a percent, I lose about $25,000 on my equity. And it's typically if it costs people more to borrow the money, they're able to pay less for the properties. So
Exactly.
bup, 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 bup. I wanted to touch bases a little bit. I was watching that video playing back, and when I was pushing that fuel light, I there was a question that came up on the is it EFS, oh my gosh, I'm losing the name of the card that I use for fuel discounts there
Oh,
at Love's.
EFS, I think it is.
Yeah, EFS. They listed the price at $343, and there was a question that came up first time I'd ever seen it, and it said, "Are you an Oregon PUC permit holder?" When I was getting my fuel, And anybody with the EFS card knows that you go through the commercial lanes when you go to Love's or any of those truck stops to get fuel, and that's where I was at. That question, though, when it asked me if I was a PUC Oregon permit holder, or do I have that permit, I didn't know how to answer that. So I answered no, because I'm an RVer, and that's the natural assumption is like, I don't have an Oregon PUC permit, but it goes through EFS, and I don't know if they are a permit holder. So I didn't know how to answer that question. I called them up, and now what they were listing on their app was $3.43 a gallon. I think the regular pump price was like $3.96 or somewhere. It may have even been a little bit higher, but I didn't care. That was still lower than I was going to be able to buy anyplace else. I called them up and I asked them, I said, I ran into this question and I could not get an answer for them, if I answered correctly or not, but they checked it and they said that you're just fine. So I waited for my statement to come, because they sent it a couple days later. It was $3.20 a gallon. Just thought it was $3.19 and a point for gallon, lower than even what the app said. So I was thrilled.
Well, diesel here, if you're interested, I noticed in Tampa yesterday was $3.49 a gallon.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's not bad. That's not bad. So
Yeah.
they are looking at that.
What's that?
They are looking at adding gas onto that EFS card, and
that would be great.
You know,
but I get
right.
3% off with my Bank America card I use, and then you try to do Love's, the app. You sign up in less than 2 minutes. It's free, and every time you open the app, a screen comes up with a barcode. All you do is scan that at your pump after you put in your card, and it gives you 10 cent a gallon discount there. So I am getting something. And the best thing about Love's, they do not charge extra money for a credit card.
Yeah, no, and I've noticed that. And Bill, the X-Fired Up Cracker Box Palace, says PUC plates are required by vehicles over 26,000 gross vehicle weight. Oregon PUC permit or heavy motor vehicle trip permit refer to vehicles that are at this weight and up to 80,000. I'm sure I've known many trucks run 105 legally. But it is a $750 per year PUC permit. Is what that
would be a commercial vehicle, right?
It is as far as I know, and I know little about it, because you go into these other states and there's so much that we don't know. And I'm even from Oregon, so I looked up, I heard a little bit from it about it. It's a $750 permit per year for Oregon, and but you still have to report it. So at the end of the year, your commercial drivers still have to file a report with the state of Oregon on their mileage and what they've done on that permit. So I don't know if that's a good thing or not. All I can tell you is I'm glad I'm not commercial.
Yeah, because you'd have to have that plate for sure.
Yeah. So that brings me to my next one is the DMV. Don, I'm back in Oregon. I'm here to tell you I'm back in Oregon, and I went to little old Lapine, Oregon. Now Lapine is a smaller town just south of Bend, where I'm from. I know Lapine well, and I've worked out here and been in this area for 30 plus years. And I needed to get plates on the new truck. I still have not done that. I've been operating on temporary trip permits until I could get back to Oregon. So I knew I needed to go. I also needed to renew my driver's license. Now I find out that the state of Oregon, in its infinite wisdom, has decided that the DMV in Lapine, Oregon, is only open on Thursdays. Only open on one day a week. Okay. Welcome to hashtag rural city life, you know. So I go over, they don't open till 9. I go over there about 8:20. I got there and there were already 8 people in line. And as we waited with those 8 people, that number grew to about 50 people in line, everybody clutching their bundle of papers in their hand for whatever business they had to do in the DMV. 9 o'clock comes and not a light has turned on inside of this DMV. And 9:05 comes and people are looking into, looking for phone numbers to call the DMV and say, yeah, nobody has opened up the store yet. Finally, about 10 after 9, somebody got a hold of a real person and they said, oh, we had a staffing shortage, so we're not opening today. 50 people standing outside have been waiting for, near as I can tell, at least an hour. And yeah, so
you just can't get help nowadays. No one wants to work after COVID.
Even the state, even the state,
especially the younger people, they just don't think they got to work now. It's just ridiculous.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. It is the 25-year-old retirement plan, and I don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
Well, they want free stuff. What can I say?
And the problem is they're getting it. The problem is they're getting
it. Out west for sure.
Yeah. I will say I was trying to avoid going into the Bend DMV because that one is open 5 days a week during the weekdays. Closes at 5. I went in there on I believe it was Monday and managed to, I was at my son's house, so this was more like Friday. The next day, it was Friday. It was packed, and it was 2 hours and 45 minutes before my number was called. And I was waiting there. Now what I would film, I don't know. That's why I didn't have any film footage of this. I'm not sure, what you film at a DMV. So I really didn't bring the GoPro. I didn't, But after being there for about 2 hours, somebody got up and announced from the DMV and said, if your number isn't called before 5 o'clock, you will have to return back tomorrow.
With the same, picking up with the same number?
No, take a new number and start all over again.
And they wonder why people used to go postal on them.
Right.
Remember that term from about 25, 30 years ago?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It was 4:45 and my number was called. I had been there 2.5 hours. And actually 2 hours and 45 minutes. And I'm here to tell you, I managed to get everything that I needed, except for one thing. I didn't renew my driver's license. So I'm going to throw this out to the comment section. Those of you, I wish Gary was here. I know Gary has a commercial license. I was faced with, I hold a commercial driver's license. I haven't driven in 15 years commercially. So I haven't driven coaches, commercially for pay. But one of the reasons I got my commercial driver's license, and I can drive semis up to doubles and triples. About the only thing I can't drive is hazardous materials, but I can drive buses. I've got my passenger endorsement. I've got my doubles, triples, air brakes, the whole 9 yards. I got that when I was about 21 years old, 22 years old. My dad, who was a truck driver, said, you know what, get your license now. You'll have it in your pocket for the rest of your life if you ever need it. So I did, and I have had a commercial license. I get up there and she says, do you have your medical card? And now I thought my license had long since, the commercial side of that had dropped off. And I said, no. And she said, if you have your medical card, we can give you your commercial driver's license back again. Now, I know what it takes to get a commercial driver's license, and it's sheer hell now. It is far worse than when I got my license all those years ago. And I told her, I said, hold off on this. She said, yeah, if you don't have your medical card, I have to give you just a regular license and you lose your commercial endorsement. And I really had to, it caused me to pause. And I said, all I need is my medical card and I can keep my commercial license. And she said, yes. Do I give that up now, Don? I asked you and I asked the people of the comments, do I give that up and get a regular license?
Well, I don't think it'd take much to get a medical card. Plus, a checkup is not a bad thing to get anyway. Of
It's
course, you're going to have to go
$120.
back and you're going to have to go back and sit in line for another 3 hours. But
Well,
yeah, I think that's what you probably should do.
I think so too. I'd never thought about it until I was standing there at the window talking to the gal about getting my license renewed. Now, my license did expire on my birthday last March. And so I am driving around on an expired license. And so I have to, I don't get pulled over though.
So they give you more than a 30-day grace period on that?
Yeah. That I am just fine as far as that goes. And now it's $120 to go in and get my my medical card. Basically, you just have to go through a physical with a doctor. It's pretty standard, and they sign off that you're safe to drive, a commercial vehicle, whatever that may be.
How much is the license, and how long are they good for compared to a regular license?
Same price, same amount of time. They're good for 8 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I think I'd have to get it. It's worth
I know. I know. So basically, it's $120 more. I mean, obviously, right. I could have taken care of it there that day, but I didn't realize that was an option. And boy,
since you didn't take care of it, you got to go back and spend that 3 hours in line again anyway.
Right. And Lenny says, don't give it up just in case one of us needs you to drive. Exactly. And I have heard that. I have heard people say, you know what, I need my coach driven back to another state. And, I have always been in that position where I could certainly do that. And, I don't know, though. I have not used it. And like I said, the last 15 years, probably 2000, it's probably been longer than that, because I think 2008 is when Monaco shut down. I was driving coaches for them back then. So, yeah, it's 2018. Yeah, that's 16 years. 16 years since I've driven a coach for them.
Well, one thing that would keep what your father said to continue to be true, but Wayne, you might put that up. He's got a good point.
Yeah, we heard a mix of things about having a commercial license. We heard that you are held to higher standards in a case of accident or issue. You absolutely are. In fact, it doesn't take an accident. Some states, if you hold a commercial driver's license, and it doesn't matter what you're driving, if you receive a ticket, the bail amount or the price of that ticket will be double. They do hold commercial drivers to a higher standard, and that's only some states, not all. There are other states though that have a requirement of a CDL if you're going to drive in their state a vehicle over X amount of pounds. I don't know which states those are, but I believe that we are safe if we are licensed from another state. I think that is if you're licensed from that particular state, you have to have a commercial driver's license. I don't have, the AC Carefree Highways, unless you have medical problems such as hypertension, diabetes. Yeah, keep your CDL. Medical problems require, I totally agree with that. And I don't have any medical problems. I don't have any reason why I would be turned down from driving. And it is simply something else in my back pocket. Once again, my father has said, you need to get your, and he had the truck. It was not that big of a deal to go ahead and get the license back then. So I think I was 22 years old when I got my CDL. And it's just something that I always had in my back pocket if I ever needed it. So
yeah, I would get it. I've been missing all you guys so much. I started watching your old videos. Matter of fact, I got it up on my TV right now in front of me. I've been watching old Tom and Lori's videos and Pearl and Bob's old videos.
Nice.
I've been going back as far as 6 years.
And we haven't aged a day.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I hate to tell you this, but we all have.
Yes. The lady says, as long as there's no psychological test, why not?
I'll shut up now.
Yeah. Thanks, Lenny. I appreciate that. Had to be Lenny. That couldn't have been Angela. That had to be Lenny. Oh, you're getting that one, Lenny. So what's new? That was my excitement for the week. Spending time with the grandkids was great. Getting to hang with my son and his wife, and even turned her on to sourdough starter and made a first loaf of sourdough bread with her, which she had never done, and they were absolutely thrilled. Yeah. So WCRV mentions, Dave, you're still young, keep your options open.
Yeah, you're younger than the rest of us.
Yeah, I did retire early, but I had a plan, and that plan was not to go back to work. Yeah, but God forbid if something should happen, I guess it does make sense that I have that in my back pocket just in case. So
right.
I'm not worried about the double fines in other states. I think Texas is one of them. And I don't get pulled over. You know what? I don't need to speed. I don't need to do stupid crap on the road, and I don't. And just
right.
that's not to say I didn't when I was younger.
Yeah, that's true. But in a RV, we're retired. Why are we in a hurry? I was watching your old Disney videos. That was a good tip on taking your RV after boondocking at Walmart or Lowe's. taking and leaving your truck there, but taking your RV and parking it at Disney World for $5 extra, and
Yeah.
going out there for lunch, and no hurry to leave or anything. That
Nope. And
that
I'll
was
tell you
great.
what, that was one of my favorite videos to do. And I've
Well, you did
barely
2 of
ever
them.
got any feedback on that. But that is an RV life hack that
Yep.
is priceless. And I don't know if it's still the same. I plan on doing that again. And if you don't know what Don's talking about, basically, I decided to drive the coach instead of my truck to the to Disney World. Now, if you want premium parking at Disney World, you can pay at that time, you can pay $55 and you get premium parking up close to the gates. Uh, I decided to bring the coach because at that time we had Chance, my dog, and I needed to be able to go out there and walk him and let him pee and all that good stuff. So we brought the coach and we got over to Disney World. It was $5 more. I think the regular price was $25. We paid $30 for parking. And not only did we now have our coach there, but it was closer than the premium parking.
Yeah.
Almost,
Yeah, that was cool. Within a couple 100 yards of
yeah,
the front gate, and I mean that's where the
every
buses park.
time.
So yeah, you did
Yeah, it
that
was
at
where the
Epcot
buses
Center
parked.
too.
Yep, it was absolutely fantastic. And when you felt like eating lunch, when it was time for dinner, you didn't have to pay. And honestly, the food is expensive and it's not very good, guys. You got to give Disney World and Disneyland credit for some things, but food is not one of them. And
But then again, at the end, you can go in, relax in your coach while the
yep,
traffic gets out of your way.
yep, absolutely. And there was even one day, I believe it was, that we took a nap. Literally,
Yep.
it's like, oh, we're out here. It's about noon, 1 o'clock, and the next thing doesn't start. I think our fast pass was coming up at 3 or 3:30.
Yeah, I
You know
can't
what?
believe you
I'm
made
just
that.
I'm gonna take a nap for half an hour, or an hour, and roll back into the park. I'll tell you what. To do Disney World, you can't do it at Disneyland. Disney World, I think, is the only place where you could do that. It was absolutely priceless. So there's a question there. Dave, ask your question. If you currently did not have a motorcycle, would you give up your motorcycle endorsement and try to keep what you have? No, but the motorcycle endorsement, it doesn't cost me
Automatic.
any extra to get my motorcycle endorsement. So,
And
but
it's automatic. So.
yeah, I do know that the motorcycle endorsement now, at least in the state of Oregon, to get that endorsement on your license, you have to go to a motorcycle class. I believe the CDL is that way as well. And they're both expensive options. And yeah,
I think it's true throughout the country now.
Oh, is it? Yeah,
In most big states, yes.
Yeah.
Because I've heard a lot of people talk about it, and of course, when I got it, I just had to take. I was 15. I just had to go down and take a written test and take a little driving test with a motorcycle.
Yeah.
And I was done.
Yeah, I will say it wasn't that easy for the CDL, and I will say it was, as I recall, it was over 500 questions on the written test, and you had to take the driving test for your CDL endorsement. What it is now, I believe you have to take a class, and I believe those run in the thousands to take those CDL classes now. So,
Hey, Dave, speaking of motorcycles, the other day I actually washed my V Twin Cruiser for the first time in either 2 or 3 years.
is that right? Well, it
I
still
mean,
looks good.
with my last, I still got comment within a week before that. Now, good looking bike, but
Right.
it's amazing. I mean, this lifestyle, it's gonna get dirty again right away.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. But you know what? I did wash the coach. I didn't mention that. I did take the time to wash the coach. First time I have washed the coach. Oh boy. First time I washed the coach since before Arizona, I believe. And I'll tell you what, it was as dirty as I have ever had that coach.
Yeah.
And
Mine's still, yeah.
Oh,
Right.
yeah. I have no excuse. I literally have no excuse. And
Do not come out east and pay someone to wash your coach, which I didn't, because it's 2 and 3 times the price in Texas or Arizona.
yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Is that at the Blue Beacons and the
No,
truck
I'm
washes?
talking about having someone come in and wash your coach.
Oh, that's always been more expensive. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but it's still 2 and 3 times more than it is in Texas or in Arizona.
Yeah. Wow. I'd be curious if anybody has done Blue Beacon in a while. I remember it used to be about $1 a foot. But that was 15 years ago. One of the things when we were delivering coaches, before we delivered, we had to go and get it washed. And as I recall, it was around $40 or $45. I don't know what Blue Beacon or any of them are charging anymore.
2 years ago, I did use it one time. I don't think I'll ever use them again. I didn't think it did a very good job. It was I want to say it was $65.
Oh, is that right?
But that's with my RV and trailer.
Okay. Yeah, they do add on if you want your tow vehicle or tow trailer washed. They do add on to that.
And you got to be very specific. Do not use any harsh chemicals, because they can peel a lot of layers off of stuff you don't want off with some of the chemicals they use on those big trucks.
Oh, I never had a problem with that, and that was obviously when you're delivering coaches, that was the place to go, was to the truck washes and get it done, and never had any issue with it. So,
well, it's the tire. I understand it's the tire stuff they use on the wheels and tires.
Yeah. Oh, and they always asked if I wanted that, and I always said yes. So I don't know. Now I might have to rethink that. Jenny says, I agree with all you. I'm trying to get my motorcycle endorsement, not a regular rider, so I might need to take it again. Yeah, I think now, if you haven't already gotten it, you got to take a class. No way around it. It has to be Oregon DMV approved class to get that. So,
and it's usually on like a little 250.
Yeah, and they do have CC differences on their endorsement. I think it's the split was like 500 cc. So if you go there with a 250 cc bike and you want to get a full endorsement, you're going to need a bigger bike for your ride test. So don't quote me on that, because it's been many years since I got my motorcycle endorsement. I wasn't a driver either, but passed. You'll do great. Yeah, that's Miss Angela right there. So The Florida in the test is part of the class. So if you pass the class, you get your endorsement. Interesting. Just go to Florida then.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know.
Say that
Well,
again.
it always.
What do you?
What's that?
What did she say? She said you just, if in Florida, you just have to do what?
Florida
Oh.
test is part of the class. So to get your, so apparently you
Oh.
do have to go to a class there as well, and then you get your. I think that's the way Oregon works as well. So.
Speaking of a little 250, I'm trying to see it right now. On Walmart, you know, you can buy like a little 250 like you can in Mexico for, I want to say like $2,000 or less.
Oh yeah.
I used to have it saved for later, but I can't find it. Let's see.
Oh,
Where is
gotcha.
it?
You know,
I just thought,
those are usually your Chinese bikes, and
right?
the quality on those is getting better. And there's several YouTube channels out there that do testing on those bikes, and
Well,
pretty interesting to watch.
hmm and then
Yeah.
in Mexico, you can buy them at a grocery store,
Is that right?
or you can buy them at the where you buy appliances and stuff, and furniture, and the loan shark.
That
Because
is
that's
too
what that record was. We went over there to exchange money, and I think the conversion rate was so ridiculous. It was like 20%.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I called it a loan shark, and they had lots of people in line sitting down talking to these loan officers, buying this furniture and appliances and these little motorcycles.
Holy cow. There you go.
Yep.
Well, Don, I have to thank you again for being on. It's been fun chatting with you and everybody in the comments. You know, it's kind of what made it. I have to say thank you again for the tip on the what is it? The Quick Set by Clam. Let's see if I can get out.
Yep. You got the 12-footer, right?
I got the same one that you've got.
Yeah, 12-footer.
I can sit in here without getting eaten up by mosquitoes. And if I let me see if I can just show it a little bit. I've got my jungle wall set up right there.
Yeah, cool.
You know, but I've got all of the door panels up, and
Okay.
absolutely it makes being outdoors and being here, even though all the mosquitoes are around, absolutely makes it fantastic. So I will, I am always grateful for that experience you did in Quartzsite with having yours there, and absolutely love this thing.
And you know, I have not put mine up since Quartzsite.
Now that is your own fault.
Well,
Right
the way
there.
I traveled this past year, and you know, in the heat, that thing's hotter. So why? You know.
Why? Yeah.
So
well, I'm going to
if I
say
was
goodbye
out-
to everybody, and we're over time on this, but hopefully you'll hang around. We always sit and talk after the show. So, but we're going to wrap it. Anything that you want to put out about your channel before we let go of everybody here?
Well, I just got a whole bunch of Key West coming up the next few days over, you know, and then you know, I'm slowly working myself north and then west.
Perfect.
So
perfect.
I got lots of videos coming though.
Outstanding. Well, it's probably going to be about 3 weeks. Hopefully we will see you again for open mic night. I know it's always iffy on whether you have signal or not, but hopefully you have always been there. So I appreciate you to no end.
Well, Well, I appreciate y'all too, and you, Dave, and thank you. And I hope everybody has a great week.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Don. Hang in there. We'll do some chatting afterwards. We're going to wrap this one up, and we're going to give HC Carefree Highway the last word of the night right there, and say goodnight to everybody. Live life full time. We'll see you guys next week. I'll be here. So we'll see you later. See you guys. Bye-bye. All right.